Sad Satan, the cursed game that wasn't. In 2015, a YouTube channel called Obscure Horror Corner claimed to have discovered a disturbing game on the dark web called Sad Satan. The uploader said it came from a hidden Tor site filled with reversed audio from real crimes, cryptic messages, and disturbing imagery. The footage, grainy hallways, static-filled corridors, and unsettling sounds spread fast. Forums like Reddit and 4chan picked it apart, convinced they were seeing something pulled from the internet's darkest corners. Within days, copycat versions appeared online, some containing illegal material that triggered brief FBI attention. But as people began analyzing the files, the story unraveled. The game's structure didn't match any known dark web distribution methods, and the so-called found footage showed clear signs of editing. Digital investigators traced the code to a simple Windows engine built with free assets and public sound libraries. When confronted, the uploader finally admitted to fabricating the story to grow his channel. Sad Satan wasn't a deep web relic. It was a staged YouTube hoax, a creepypasta that the internet believed into existence and then exposed on its own. Shaye Saint John, the internet's creepiest woman revealed. Years before analog horror became a genre, the internet met Shaye Saint John, a mannequin-faced woman speaking in glitchy, chopped-up phrases while performing bizarre tasks like dancing in parking lots or ordering fast food. The video spread across early forums in YouTube, supposedly belonging to a disfigured model who rebuilt herself with doll parts after a car crash. The low-quality visuals and unnerving editing made it feel disturbingly authentic. Viewers were fascinated and terrified. Shaye's strange movements, muffled laughter, and distorted voice made her seem half human, half machine. For years, no one knew who she was or where the videos came from. In 2008, online sleuths finally traced the clips to Los Angeles performance artist Eric Fournier. The filming locations matched his neighborhood, and his earlier short films shared the same editing style and distorted vocal design. Friends later confirmed that Shaye Saint John was Fournier's creation, an art project exploring trauma, identity, and the blurred line between human and artificial. When Fournier died in 2010, the upload stopped immediately. The mystery that had terrified early internet users ended with the realization that Shaye wasn't a victim at all, but one of the web's first pieces of performance art, a haunting reflection of how easily the internet can turn imagination into myth. 11B-X-1371, The Masked Tape Unmasked. In 2015, an anonymous DVD arrived at the offices of a Swedish tech blog. Inside was a video labeled 11B-X-1371. It showed a figure dressed in a plague doctor outfit, standing in an abandoned building, flashing coded hand signs while eerie static tones played in the background. Hidden within the audio and video were Morse codes, spectrogram messages, and binary strings that referenced disease and corruption. The imagery looked like a manifesto from a deranged mind, and the internet quickly lost itself trying to decipher it. Forums across Reddit and 4chan treated the clip like an encrypted confession. Some believed it was a threat. Others thought it was an alternate reality game. Then, months later, investigators found a second version with even more embedded clues. Eventually, digital forensics traced the file's metadata and filming location to Poland, where users matched the setting to an abandoned asylum. In 2016, a local visual artist admitted to creating the video as a conceptual art piece designed to test how far internet paranoia could spread. The viral tape wasn't a warning. It was a mirror held up to online hysteria. I feel fantastic. Android of Nightmares debunked. For years, the video I Feel Fantastic circulated as one of YouTube's earliest and most disturbing mysteries. It featured a lifelike android named Tara, singing in a flat, robotic tone while staring directly into the camera. Her stiff movements and plastic face terrified viewers, and rumors spread that the creator had dark motives. The eerie suburban background and the lifeless expression only added to the unease. When the video resurfaced repeatedly between 2004 and 2011, speculation grew. People claimed the walls matched a missing person's home. Others insisted the lyrics contained hidden coordinates. But internet researchers eventually traced the footage to a robotics hobbyist who had built the animatronic as part of a music video art project in the mid-2000s. The creator confirmed there was never any crime or cover-up involved, just an experiment with early voice synthesis and motion control. The video's creepiness had come from its uncanny realism, not from any hidden evil. What once looked like evidence of something sinister turned out to be an amateur art experiment that proved how quickly fear spreads online. Lake City Quiet Pills, the Reddit hitman myth explained. In 2009, a Reddit user called Religion of Peace became known for posting crude jokes and military-style banter. After his death, another user logged into the account to announce it, ending with the cryptic phrase, "Lake City Quiet Pills spreading kindness like old man used to." When Redditors traced the phrase, they discovered a website, lakecityquietpills.com, that looked like a basic image host. But hidden inside the site's HTML code were strange, encrypted job postings written in military jargon, mentioning payments, locations, and operations. Many became convinced it was a front for contract work, a digital dead drop for mercenaries. Others thought it was a dark joke among veterans, using slang about ammunition from the Lake City Army ammunition plant. Despite years of digging, no one ever found solid proof of real crimes or real contracts. Most of the clues appeared to connect back to the same small group of users, suggesting it may have been elaborate roleplay or an inside joke that spiraled out of control. To this day, Lake City Quiet Pills remains one of Reddit's strangest cold cases, a story that might be a prank or something that went much deeper. The Russian sleep experiment, internet fiction exposed. Few creepypastas have spread as widely as the Russian sleep experiment. The story claimed that Soviet scientists had locked political prisoners in a sealed chamber, forcing them to stay awake for 15 days using an experimental gas. According to the tale, the subjects descended into madness, mutilated themselves, and begged to be sealed inside the chamber again. Photos of mutilated faces and rotting figures were passed around as proof, and many believed it was based on a real Cold War experiment. In reality, no evidence of the experiment existed in any Soviet medical archives or declassified documents. Internet researchers traced the story to a 2010 post on the Creepypasta Wiki, written by an anonymous user who combined fragments of older horror fiction and Cold War paranoia. The photographs used as evidence were found to be Halloween props and digital art. The entire experiment had been fabricated from start to finish, but the story's realistic tone fooled millions into thinking it was based on real research. What made it powerful wasn't truth, it was presentation. The internet's hunger for the bizarre had made a piece of fiction feel like history. The cursed Kleenex ad, how Japan's possessed commercial, was solved. In the late 1980s, a Japanese Kleenex commercial became one of the earliest viral horror myths long before social media existed. The ad featured a red-haired woman in a white dress sitting beside a baby painted green with a haunting song playing in the background. Viewers found it unsettling, but over time rumors began to spread that the commercial was cursed. According to the myth, everyone involved in the production had either fallen ill or disappeared, and the song's lyrics were said to be a German curse. When the ad resurfaced on YouTube decades later, online detectives finally debunked it. The song was confirmed to be "It's a Fine Day" by British musician Jane and Barton, not a demonic chant. Production records showed that the actress, Keiko Matsuzaka, was alive and well, and none of the crew had experienced anything unusual. The green baby was a simple makeup choice to represent a goblin, part of the ad's surreal aesthetic. The commercial wasn't cursed at all, it was simply a case of cultural rumor, mistranslation, and internet imagination, turning a strange piece of 1980s advertising into one of Japan's most famous urban legends. Ben Drowned, the ARG mastermind revealed. In 2010, a mysterious post appeared on the internet claiming that a haunted copy of The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, had been found at a yard sale. The game allegedly contained a vengeful spirit named Ben, who tormented the player with glitched visuals, reversed music, and messages like, "You shouldn't have done that." The story came with video footage showing impossible in-game events, NPCs floating in midair, distorted character faces, and gameplay that seemed possessed. The post spread quickly across 4chan and Reddit, convincing thousands that someone had stumbled onto an actual cursed game cartridge. The mystery unraveled over time. Internet researchers connected the username behind the uploads to Alex Hall, an artist and storyteller who went by the handle Jedisable. Hall later confirmed that Ben Drowned was an elaborate ARG, a staged series blending real gameplay, fan interaction, and horror narrative. The haunted cartridge videos were scripted and edited to look authentic, using game mods and emulator tricks. Rather than a ghost story, Ben Drowned was one of the internet's earliest examples of interactive fiction, where viewers helped shape the story's evolution. What began as a creepypasta became a landmark in online storytelling and one of the first times the internet solved a mystery by uncovering the artist behind it. The Poppy YouTube cult theory, Art Project Exposed. When the YouTube channel that Poppy appeared in 2015, its videos immediately stood out from anything else online. Each clip featured a young woman named Poppy speaking in an emotionless voice against a blank white background, repeating strange phrases about fame, religion, and identity. Over time, the videos grew more cryptic, mixing mannequin imagery, inverted symbols, and commentary on celebrity worship. Viewers began speculating that Poppy was being controlled by a cult, or trapped in a music industry experiment. As the series gained millions of views, online investigators started connecting the visuals and production style to a filmmaker named Titanic Sinclair, who had previously collaborated with Poppy on other projects. Public records, domain data, and interviews revealed that the two had co-created the entire concept as an art performance critiquing pop culture and digital identity. Poppy later confirmed in multiple interviews that the videos were fully scripted and that the cult theories had grown out of viewers taking satire literally. What many thought was a cry for help turned out to be one of YouTube's most successful pieces of conceptual media, an experiment in how easily the internet mistakes performance for reality. The MK Ultra tape, the leaked experiment, hoax decoded. For years, eerie black and white clips have surfaced online claiming to show lost MK Ultra experiments. Shaky footage of restrained subjects, strange lights, and official-looking seals marked CIA. Each new upload sparks waves of speculation, only to collapse under basic analysis. In every verified case, these videos trace back to independent filmmakers or alternate reality game creators using analog filters, stock footage, and fabricated overlays to mimic 1960s experiments. They're not government leaks, they're horror projects dressed up as evidence. The real Project MK Ultra, however, was no myth. It was a documented CIA program from the 1950s through the early 1970s that tested drugs and psychological conditioning on unwitting people. When it was exposed during U.S. Senate hearings in the 1970s, most files had already been destroyed. That missing paper trail left a vacuum the internet has been filling ever since, spawning endless leaked tapes that mix fragments of truth with fiction. The hoaxes don't expose new secrets. They show how the internet keeps reinventing the past. The Bitcoin Pizza Guy, tracking the internet's first million-dollar meal. In May 2010, a Florida programmer named Laszlo Hanyecz made history by spending 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 pizzas from Papa John's. At the time, the coins were worth about $40 total. His post on the Bitcoin Talk forum was casual. He simply wanted to see if anyone would accept the digital currency for a real-world purchase. Another user agreed, ordered him the pizzas, and the transaction became the first documented Bitcoin exchange for a physical good. Years later, as Bitcoin's value skyrocketed, the story resurfaced and quickly turned into a mystery. Many wondered who had sold the pizzas, where the transaction originated, and whether it was even real. Online investigators began combing through early blockchain records and archived forum threads. They confirmed the transaction, traced it to Hanyetz's original wallet, and identified the anonymous buyer as a British student who had simply cashed in the Bitcoin for fun. The transparency of the blockchain allowed users to verify every detail, proving that the Bitcoin pizza was genuine. By 2021, those same coins would have been worth hundreds of millions of dollars. What started as a small experiment in digital currency became a piece of internet legend. One of the rare mysteries that was solved completely, down to the very slice. The Fappening, metadata that caught a hacker. In 2014, private photos of dozens of celebrities were leaked online in what quickly became known as the Fappening. The images first appeared on 4chan before spreading across Reddit and countless mirror sites. At first, it was unclear how the hacker had gained access to so many iCloud accounts, and speculation ranged from password guessing to inside leaks. The sheer scale of the breach made it one of the biggest internet scandals of the decade. Digital forensics experts and independent investigators started analyzing the photo files. Buried inside the image's metadata were GPS tags, timestamps, and device information that revealed which phones and accounts they came from. Using this data, the FBI traced multiple IP addresses and upload patterns back to Ryan Collins, a Pennsylvania man who had been running a phishing scheme for years. He had tricked victims into giving up their passwords through fake Apple security emails, not through any sophisticated hack. Once confronted, Collins confessed, and the stolen data was traced to his personal cloud storage. The case showed that even the internet's most viral mysteries can leave a digital paper trail, and that sometimes the truth is less high-tech and more human. Ghost screams from space, NASA glitch revealed. Every few years, a new viral clip surfaces claiming to capture human-like screams from deep space. Distorted audio supposedly transmitted from NASA satellites or distant probes. The clips circulate with chilling captions, often described as the sound of the universe crying. But according to NASA engineers, none of it is paranormal. The screams are simply data errors. When radiotelemetry or binary code is accidentally processed as audio, the result is a harsh, wavering tone that can resemble a human voice. In one well-known case, the ghost wails turned out to be nothing more than static, generated by a faulty receiver. These incidents remind us that sometimes the most haunting sounds from space aren't messages from beyond. They're the sound of math, misread by the internet. Green children emails. Folklore, hoax. Author found, the legend of the green-skinned children dates back to the 12th century England, when two mysterious siblings were said to have wandered into the village of Woolpit, speaking an unknown language. Locals claimed they ate only beans, and that one eventually learned English, saying they'd come from a land with no sun. Centuries later, the story resurfaced on early internet forums in the late 1990s, becoming one of the web's first viral unsolved mysteries. Email chains and message boards reframed the tale as proof of alien contact or interdimensional travel, but researchers later tracked its spread through old folklore archives and university websites, showing that it was a medieval legend rebranded as digital myth. No secret emails or hidden codes were ever found. Just an ancient story finding new life in a modern medium. The internet didn't uncover a mystery, it resurrected one. Cicada 3301, when the internet solved too much. In 2012, a black image appeared on 4chan with a white message. "We are looking for highly intelligent individuals." It was signed only by Cicada 3301. The post linked to a series of puzzles involving ciphers, QR codes, philosophy, and even GPS coordinates leading to posters hidden in real cities. It became the internet's most elaborate treasure hunt, a global collaboration of hackers, mathematicians, and cryptographers racing to decode the next step. Some solvers reached private websites where they were invited to complete more tests, but after that, communication stopped. Many believed it was a recruitment drive for intelligence agencies. Others suspected privacy activists or a secret collective experimenting with encryption. Despite multiple rounds of puzzles across 3 years, no one ever claimed responsibility, and no one knows what the group wanted. Cicada 3301 remains one of the rare internet mysteries that was partially solved but never understood. Proof that the web can crack the code, but still miss the meaning. Max Headroom broadcast. The face behind the mask. On November 22, 1987, Chicago television viewers were stunned when a live news broadcast on WGN suddenly cut to a man wearing a Max Headroom mask. The figure spoke in distorted audio, waving a piece of metal and mumbling phrases that made little sense. 90 seconds later, the station regained control, but the same masked man returned that night on another channel, this time laughing into the camera and performing strange gestures. The bizarre hijacking became one of the most famous unsolved moments in television history, and for decades, no one knew who had pulled it off. Then in the 2010s, technology caught up. Internet sleuths used modern signal analysis to reconstruct the broadcast pattern and triangulate its likely source. By comparing the transmission strength and angle, investigators concluded it had originated from a small transmitter placed on a high-rise building near both TV antennas. Former engineers identified the equipment as amateur grade, narrowing suspects to local broadcast hobbyists active in Chicago's radio scene at the time. While no one was ever charged, evidence strongly suggested the culprit was part of a small group of tech pranksters from the area. What began as a moment of television chaos was eventually traced back to a handful of local engineers, proving how fragile analog airwaves once were. Polybius arcade legend. The fake game confirmed. For decades, gamers have whispered about Polybius, a mysterious 1980s arcade cabinet said to have appeared briefly in Portland, Oregon. According to legend, the game caused players to suffer from nightmares, nausea, and even memory loss. Men in blacks were allegedly seen collecting data from the machines, and the story claimed that the government had been testing mind control experiments through arcade games. Screenshots and secondhand stories circulated for years, fueling one of gaming's longest-running urban legends. When investigators finally dug into the claim, they found no record of Polybius ever existing. No cabinets were registered with any arcade manufacturer, and no known prototypes matched its supposed description. In the early 2000s, a website claiming to host the game's original ROM was traced to a retro gaming enthusiast who admitted to fabricating the story as an experiment in digital folklore. The supposed screenshots and descriptions had been stitched together from other vintage games. The entire mystery originated from a 2000 Usenet post that blended real government experiments with gaming culture's fascination for hidden secrets. Polybius was never real, but it became proof that a good story can outlive its creator, especially when the internet wants to believe it's true. Boston bombing Reddit sleuths, the internet's biggest misfire. In 2013, following the Boston Marathon bombing, Reddit users launched one of the internet's largest amateur investigations. Thousands of people pored over photos and videos from the event, hoping to identify the suspects before police did. A dedicated subreddit titled Find Boston Bombers was created, where users compared facial features, backpacks, and timelines. Within days, names and photos of several innocent people began circulating, including that of a missing college student who was falsely accused of being one of the attackers. The story spread beyond Reddit into mainstream media, and the family of the misidentified student was harassed online as rumors snowballed. When the FBI later revealed the real suspects, Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the online community realized how much damage had been done. Reddit's administrators issued a public apology, and the subreddit was permanently shut down. The case became a defining moment in digital culture, showing how easily online cooperation can turn into mass hysteria when facts take a backseat to speculation. The crowd investigation had started with good intentions, but ended as a warning about the dangers of collective detective work on a global stage. The bloop sound, solved by scientists and the internet. In 1997, scientists from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration detected a deep, powerful noise in the Pacific Ocean, unlike anything ever recorded. The sound, nicknamed the bloop, was so loud it was picked up by underwater microphones over 3,000 miles apart. It rose in frequency like a living creature's call, sparking endless theories. Some thought it was a secret military test, while others insisted it came from a massive sea creature lurking in the deep. The mystery captivated the internet for years, as online forums dissected spectrograms and sonar data searching for answers. The truth came decades later. In 2012, NOAA researchers confirmed that the bloop matched the acoustic signature of ice quakes, massive shifts in Antarctic glaciers that release powerful bursts of sound underwater. The strange organic tone had come from nature itself, not an undiscovered life form. What began as one of the ocean's great unsolved mysteries turned out to be a case of science catching up to speculation. The internet didn't just imagine this mystery, it helped keep it alive long enough for real researchers to finally explain it. The Tunguska event, online science crowd finds the meteor clues. On June 30th, 1908, a massive explosion flattened more than 800 square miles of forest near the Tunguska River in Siberia. The blast was so powerful it knocked people off their feet hundreds of miles away, and its cause remained unknown for decades. There was no crater, no obvious debris, just scorched trees and stories of a fireball in the sky. As the internet age began, the event became one of the most debated mysteries online, with theories ranging from alien ships to secret weapons tests. By the early 2000s, global researchers and online science communities started pooling data from satellite images, geological samples, and eyewitness accounts. Through open collaboration, scientists confirmed that the Tunguska explosion was caused by the airburst of a large meteor, which disintegrated before hitting the ground. Computer modeling and later expeditions supported the conclusion, showing how a single atmospheric blast could create such wide destruction without leaving a crater. What had once been treated as unsolvable folklore became one of the internet's great crowd-solved mysteries, a reminder that sometimes the truth hides in plain sight, waiting for enough people to look closely.